Hello, welcome to Granada Reports, live with the latest across the Northwest.
Hello, thanks for joining us. On the programme this evening.
You know you've done wrong, so you need to own up. Like I've taught my kids.
The message from a grieving mother to a murderer. Olivia's mum bandaged from the injury she suffered when her daughter was shot dead.
Put your hands up if you were really shocked.
The impact on primary school pupils and the warnings about the dangers from criminal gangs.
Sad that it was like in her own home as well, because like you're supposed to feel safe in your own home.
So experimental, it doesn't even have a name. The vaccine for cancer being trialled at the Christie Hospital.
Ground control to Major Tim. How the first UK astronaut to visit the International Space Station is bringing his one-man show to the Northwest.
And it feels like good growing weather at the moment, doesn't it? Very humid, tropical feel to our weather. Temperatures will dip at the weekend. I've got the forecast later.
First, and that tearful message from the mother of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt-Corbell to the man who shot and killed her daughter.
Cheryl Corbell says she'd taught her children to own up when they'd done wrong, and she's calling on Olivia's killer to do the same. Her hand is still bandaged from the injury she suffered in the attack just over 2 weeks ago.
Meanwhile, 4 men arrested at the weekend in connection with Olivia's murder have been bailed pending further police inquiries.
We have the latest on the investigation coming up, but before that, Cheryl Corbell talks about the daughter who was by her side all the time.
She was amazing. She loved life. She was my little shadow. She went everywhere with me. She loved school. Well, she didn't like school because she had to do work, but she loved it because she was there with all her friends. Everyone that she met, they all fell in love with her. She left a mark on everyone that she met, and she may well have only been 9, but she packed a lot in them 9 years. Her ears, because she never stopped talking. And that's what I miss the most. Because I can't hear her talk. I'm hoping that they come forward so this doesn't happen to anybody else. You know you've done wrong, so you need to own up. Like I've taught my kids, you do something wrong, you own up to it. If anyone is hiding these guns, they need to speak up, because they need to be off these streets. No one at all should have to go through this. We were organising days out. We were on the summer holidays. We took Liv swimming. We went to Blackpool, just me and Liv. And we were talking about going to get a new uniform for school. But I didn't get that chance to go and get a school uniform. But I'll keep going. For Liv.
Well, our correspondent Anne O'Connor is in Dovecot now, and the 4 suspects arrested at the weekend, all bailed. Merseyside police clearly still looking for that vital piece of evidence.
Yes, Mike, all those arrests came in a 24-hour period starting in the early hours of Sunday morning. 4 men detained, taken into custody, questioned and then today released on bail. They are a 34-year-old man who was arrested at Runcorn in Cheshire on suspicion of Olivia's murder and attempted murder. Then 3 other men, aged between 29 and 41, detained in various locations at Runcorn, in Liverpool, one on the M42 in Warwickshire. They were all detained and questioned on suspicion of assisting an offender. They've all been released on bail, as I said. Tonight there remains a huge police presence in the streets around Olivia's house. Merseyside police still appealing to the public for information, a picture of evidence they want to bring whoever killed Olivia to justice.
Well, it's a shocking thought, but we've been reminded today that the man responsible for killing Olivia was once a pupil going to lessons at a school like any other child.
And the efforts to keep children out of the clutches of criminal gangs is part of an ongoing campaign across Merseyside and other parts of our region.
Our reporter Anna Yosef went to a primary school in Bootle to see a tough lesson being delivered to Year 6 pupils.
Has anyone ever got themselves in trouble in school with other people because somebody's basically said this or words to this effect? Come on, it'll be a laugh. And you've gone along with something.
Learning a valuable lesson, one that could save lives. Pupils at this primary school in Bootle are taking part in a week-long workshop warning about the dangers of getting involved with gangs, and many of the topics are close to home.
Are you guys aware of what's happened in our school holidays in this city? If I say the name Olivia? Yeah. Put your hands up if you were really shocked. Put your hands up if it made you a little bit sad. Put your hands up if you think that's completely unacceptable in our great city. In that young girl's classroom, or what would have been her classroom, think about this. There is now an empty chair just like that one over there. Think of the teacher's registration. The teacher didn't call out a name because somebody used a gun in our city. That's how dangerous things have got. Do you understand why I'm in your school?
It's been set up by a former probation officer. So far, he's helped more than 15,000 young people. Why do you think it's more important than ever that children get this sort of education?
Well, in the last couple of weeks, there's been 3 murders in Liverpool. 2 of them, I believe, are linked to gang crime, organised crime, however we want to describe it. But at some stage, the people involved in those murders were sitting in a classroom just like this. And my question is always, how did they go from a Year 6 class to picking up a gun and committing murder? What journey have they gone on? Now, does a programme like this, an early intervention programme, which can pull people back, which can make people think about their own circumstances, can it save people from going down the wrong path? And if I can do that and stop any incidents happening, then this is all worthwhile. The problem I have is I never know if I've stopped one of those incidents.
It's clear these pupils have been stunned by what happened to Olivia.
I was shocked that someone would do that. Even, I know it wasn't on purpose, but still they shouldn't be going around streets chasing people. Anyone could get hurt.
I was scared because I felt like it might happen to anyone else and it'd be me nervous and stuff.
Shocked and scared that just random children can just get killed. Sad that it was in her own home as well, because you're supposed to feel safe in your own home and not invaded.
The school's taken part in the project for the past 6 years. The head teacher believes it helps students stay safer in everyday life. How big an issue are gangs in Bootle?
There are pockets of areas in Bootle where this is a very real problem, and whilst we regard this area to be a real community, and parents and children and staff all work here very closely, just like hundreds of yards away, we know that there are gangs and gang activity that our children could be quite easily drawn into. Maybe unwittingly, just stumble into it. It's very easy to become quickly very part of a gang, and then difficult to get out of being in a gang.
Encouraging young people to make good decisions, stay safe and keep on the right side of the law. Anna Yosef, ITV News, Bootle.
Yeah, hard to hear how shocked and sad those children are. Well, moving on to other news tonight. Ryan Giggs says he is obviously disappointed that he'll face a retrial on domestic violence charges, but says he wants to clear his name. Jurors failed to reach a verdict in his 4-week trial. The former Manchester United player, who wasn't in court today, denies using controlling and coercive behaviour against his ex-girlfriend. He also denies assault, causing actual bodily harm, and assaulting her sister.
Now, we're hearing lots about the new vaccine for COVID at the moment, but next tonight, a new vaccine which could offer a lifeline to the many thousands of people living with cancer. It's being tested for the first time in our region.
It is so experimental that it hasn't even got a name yet. At the moment, it's being called OVM200. And just a few hours ago, doctors at the Christie Hospital in Manchester gave it to a 63-year-old woman from Lancashire who has ovarian cancer.
Put simply, it helps the body's immune system fight cancer cells. It's some years from appearing on the NHS, though, as Tim Scott reports.
Susan Sanders receives her first dose of a vaccine that could help beat cancer. Doctors at the Christie are trialling the new vaccine named OVM200, and Susan, who has ovarian cancer, is the first patient in the Northwest to be given a dose.
Well, I know I have limited options, and so I thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. What am I losing by doing this? And when I look around at the expertise of the nurses and all the staff, they've worked for years to get to the position to extend people's lives like myself. So I have a responsibility and a duty, I think, to do this.
Professor Fiona Thistlethwaite is leading the trial at the Christie. She explained how the new vaccine works.
In this case, we're using a vaccine, and that is really the aim of that, is to stimulate the patient's own immune system to recognise the cancer and then destroy the cancer cells.
Isn't a vaccine supposed to prevent a disease rather than deal with a disease that's already in somebody?
Yeah, it's quite unusual. We're all used to hearing about vaccines for infectious diseases, but what we haven't successfully done so far is develop simple, straightforward vaccines for patients where their cancer's more advanced. And this is one step along the road to hopefully discovering new vaccines for cancer patients.
It gives me hope. You know, that's all you can hang on to at the end of the day. I'd like people to realise that having a diagnosis of cancer is not a death sentence. There's hope out there. There's lots of new treatments. Technology is moving on at such a rapid pace, and there's hope for everybody.
If the vaccine trial is successful, it will still be years before it's rolled out. But as Susan said, it does give hope to those with cancer and illustrates the Christie's tireless work against the disease. Tim Scott, ITV News, Manchester.
Yeah, very promising new development there. OK, here's what's still to come on the ITV News at 6:30 with Mary.
Coming up on the programme, the dividing lines are drawn at Liz Truss's first Prime Minister's questions. She promises action on energy prices, but she rules out a windfall tax. Labour's Keir Starmer says that means the public will foot the bill. Also tonight, Ryan Giggs will face a retrial over allegations he assaulted his ex-girlfriend. Big spending Chelsea sack manager Thomas Tuchel. And we meet the 9-year-old behind Thomas the Tank Engine's first autistic character. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, when you tell people about all the amazing places that you've been to and what sights you've seen in your life, you know the problem. There's always someone who can go one better.
Yes, and that someone who wins every single time is the astronaut Tim Peake. He was the first person from this country to walk in space during his mission to the International Space Station 7 years ago.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Major Tim, as he's known, is bringing his one-man show, My Journey to Space, to our region. Our correspondent Rob Smith caught up with him at the famous planetarium at Liverpool's World Museum.
Hello, Miles. Can I get a high five? Good to meet you, Miles.
A high five from someone who's flown higher than most on the planet. Astronaut Tim Peake inspired explorers of the future at Liverpool's World Museum in a section dedicated to his time in orbit. The former test pilot launched to the International Space Station in 2015. Back then, he taught science lessons from space. Now, wisdom comes from ground level on a nationwide tour.
I think it's part of our job as astronauts is to be ambassadors for space.
He told me just why that matters under a planetarium display of the station's windows.
That was your view?
Yeah, Very cool indeed. In fact, I think I recognise some of these photos. I think that might be the one that brought us up into the space station.
So that was yours?
I think so. There's a lot that people don't know about what we're doing in space, and yet space touches everybody. At some point, everybody's looked up to the stars and wondered, you know, what's out there, how did we get here, where did it all begin, and where does it all end? And again, when I'm talking to young people, I say, look, well, look, you can be an astronaut now. Anyone in the UK can apply to the European Space Agency to be an astronaut.
Those 2 kids you just spoke to could be out there one day.
Absolutely. They could be the first humans on Mars.
This is Artemis Launch Control.
When NASA's delayed moon missions finally take humans back to the lunar surface, European astronauts will be among them. And Major Tim's very clear about whether he'd like to be picked.
In a heartbeat, yes. Yeah.
In a heartbeat, no doubt.
No doubts at all. All of my colleagues, we're looking to the Artemis missions as the pinnacle of, you know, what you can try and achieve, because being in low Earth orbit is unbelievable. It's fantastic, but we're always on the space station. We're looking further. We're looking out to the moon. We're looking to the Milky Way.
Tim, it's really cool seeing that Union Jack.
But while the first Briton to walk in space is keen to go again, one of those he inspired isn't keen on going in future, at least not without a grown-up. Do you like the idea of going on a rocket?
No.
No, you don't want to go on a rocket. It's very exciting, though.
I'll go on with you.
There you go, your dad will go into space with you.
Yes.
An astronaut shaping a future for families in space. Rob Smith, ITV News, Liverpool.
I think it's only sensible to approach with caution. I'm not sure I'd want to go on a rocket either. OK, time for sport now, and a record-breaking transfer in women's football involving a Manchester City player. David, tell us more.
Yeah, this is huge news for the women's game, and it involves one of City and England's best players. Midfielder Keira Walsh is on the move. She has signed for Barcelona for a world record fee thought to be worth around £400,000, and that breaks a previous record, which was held by Chelsea. They paid £250,000 back in 2020. And Barcelona today, well, they confirmed the news, of course. How do you confirm news these days? On social media, on Twitter, they put a picture of Keira in their kit. It means that she goes from her hometown in Rochdale to La Ramblas, doesn't it? There we go. Sorry about the pun. She's moved on a 3-year deal, and that means that it ends her 8 years with City as well.
Oh, she must be on top of the world. I mean, this is a huge amount of money. Does that make her the best player in the world?
You would think so, wouldn't you? Well, she's definitely up there with one of the best. I mean, there was huge controversy when she wasn't included in FIFA's Ballon d'Or shortlist for the best female player in the world. You know, she was so influential for England in the World Cup. I mean, just take a look at these skills as well. This was her in training.
Amazing.
This week. Incredible skills, incredible finish as well. Like I say, she was so influential in England winning the Euros. She was player of the match against Germany in the final. She won a 50th cap for England against Luxembourg last night. She really is one of the superstars.
So this is obviously a great move for Keira, but a huge blow this for Manchester City, isn't it?
It is. The Spanish Knights have got an absolute gem of a player here, but for City this is a massive blow where you think that the WSL, the Women's Super League, starts this weekend as well, and she's not the only player who has departed City over the summer. We've had the likes of Jill Scott and Ellen White retiring. Lucy Bronze, she's also moved to Barcelona, so Keira's going to be linking up with her again. And Georgia Stanway, she's moved to the German side by Munich. It's going to leave a huge hole in the midfield, but City still do have some good players. They still have plenty of good players there.
Yeah, more proof there about the rise of the women's game. So when are we going to see the £1 million transfer?
Oh, do you know what? That's a very good question, and it's probably not too far away now. As you say, the rise of the women's game really, is boosted in recent years. We just look at the success of the Euros. You would think it's not going to be too long, but when you think, you just compare it to the men's game. We don't like to compare it to the men's game, but we're going to, unfortunately. £190 million the record transfer fee in the men's game. That's what PSG paid for Neymar.
I think you can compare it when you're talking about money. I think the women wouldn't argue about the money going into the game, would they?
They would love that kind of money, wouldn't they? Talking of the men's game, anyway, let's turn our attention now to tonight's action. And Liverpool goalkeeper Alisson says that the team must put the disappointment of losing last season's Champions League final behind them. Well, Jurgen Klopp's side opened their account in this season's competition away at Italian side Napoli. The Reds boss has never won in Naples, so he's hoping it'll be fourth time lucky tonight.
Who cares? I'm, how we say in Germany, I'm a late bloomer. I need always a little bit longer to achieve my stuff, and that means Sometimes I have to try 2 times, sometimes 3 times, sometimes 4 times. At Napoli, obviously 4 times. What do we have to do? Play better than in the previous 3 games? That would be very helpful because we didn't play particularly well.
I think the day after is really difficult. You are frustrated that you didn't get your trophy, the main goal. We have to give a response straight after. I learned that to deal with that since I am a young boy playing football.
Now, we've been looking forward to this one, to a TV show that gripped millions of viewers in the 1980s and massively boosted the sale of leg warmers. It was called Fame, of course, a drama set in a performing arts school in New York.
Yeah, you'll be singing Fame all night now. Some of the old cast are here for a series of reunion concerts, and the good news is the proceeds are going to the new Clare House in Liverpool, which supports seriously ill children and their families.
It's all happening because of a Fame superfan who also happens to be a police officer. Victoria Grimes caught up with her and some well-known faces at LIPA, Liverpool's own Fame school.
How is it to be back with the rest of the gang this time?
No, we're a family. You know, we have, and I think as we've gotten older, you know, it's like more and more important when we see each other.
We go back to being teenagers.
Teenagers on TV, on a national show, and we acted like fools because we could.
And we do it, well, some of us still do it.
This is fun. This is fun. Every day this is fun.
So it is coming together, as they say in the title song. How's it looking so far?
I think it's looking really, really good. It's really energetic. The dancers are brilliant, the band's brilliant, the cast is brilliant. I think, yeah, it's all fun into place. It's excellent.
And this is a bit of a change from Merseyside Police, where you usually spend your days.
Definitely, yeah. Totally different role to normal. Yeah.
Sue Hines, she talks about how her 12-year-old self, you know, freaks out every time she does this. But, you know, as a producer and, you know, as someone who brought us all together for something as wonderful as Clare House, yeah, it's inspirational.
Money raised from the reunion shows will go to help Clare House in West Derby. And during rehearsals, the cast made time to go and meet some of those that the centre helps.
When your child's got additional needs, it's got to be a specific type of person that can look after your child, and they just came in like angels, really, and just, you had a lovely time, didn't you?
Yeah, I like going out, and I like going to the brighter and big cakes.
It's sort of like a choral song, you can all sing it together, which makes you feel dead happy, doesn't it? It was lovely, and it just puts into perspective a lot of things, such as, you know, regardless of your disability, your colour, your gender, whatever, we can all come together and enjoy life together.
Because they're also nice and warm to other people, so it's just really nice to have that really nice feeling that they like you.
How was it to see the children?
Well, it's great to see the new place, because you don't have the same thing in the US, you know, but this idea of wrapping the entire family in their arms and doing things just specifically for the siblings and really creating respite for parents who can really go away and breathe, knowing their kids know the people, they know the place, they want to be there. That's huge.
My God, I mean, they're heroes beyond heroes. To have to take that home every day and come back the next day with a smile on your face, my heart goes out to them.
Someone to lie with.
And there's so much talent here, because you're working with the guys from LIPA as well.
Oh my goodness, they're so amazing. It just makes us look good.
The dancers, actually, the first time through that I saw it, I started to cry. I haven't felt that way since the 80s, actually. They blew me away.
You are the new kids from Fame, you're the kids from Liverpool.
That's exactly what they said. Yeah. Exactly what they said, yeah. My mum and dad were fans of the show, so I've like to watch the odd clips here and there, but yeah, it's madness. And, you know, to be here at Lipper, to be able to have this opportunity, you know, we're all just so grateful.
And do you feel the pressure when you're doing your high kicks and your...
A little. Yeah. A little, yeah.
Like,
we just kind of...
The technique needs to be on point here.
Like whack it up extra high.
To see 40 years later that idea of a performing arts education creative space, it's beautiful. You know, it's bringing it all the way around.
Absolutely brilliant trip down memory lane there, and all in such a good cause.
Yeah.
What a lovely report that was from Vicky.
It was lovely, and it was so nice as well to see that comparison between the stars from Fame then and now.
What would it take to get you to appear in a musical, Mike?
A lot. I think it's time for the weather now, isn't it, Lucy? Let's find out if it's time to dig out those...
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Thank you. A very good evening to you. Some warm spells of sunshine around today, but we've seen quite a few heavy downpours developing. More to come this evening. They'll tend to peter out tonight, but will return tomorrow, interspersed with some warm sunshine again. The nights are warm at the moment, as are the days. Temperatures will be on the wane by the weekend, but it's drying out a little with high pressure taking control. At the moment, low pressure is pushing fronts in across the country, taking the form of showers for us. Briefly quieter conditions by the end of Friday, for Saturday and much of Sunday, but then cloud and rain builds once more from the southwest to start next week. Back to this evening, a few heavy downpours around, and then gradually overnight tonight our region should become largely dry. A few isolated mist or fog patches perhaps, still quite a breeze around, and you'll notice it's warm tonight, 14 or 15 Celsius away from towns and cities, so quite warm and built up areas as we go through towards dawn. Speaking of which, the sun is up tomorrow at 6:31 and will set at 7:45. Tomorrow, not a bad start for northwest England and the Isle of Man. Some lovely sunshine around, but also mist and fog, which will lift quite quickly, the breeze pushing that away. During the course of the morning, a few showers will crop up, and then by the afternoon, as you can see, they're fairly widespread. Some of them are heavy, interspersed with spells of warm sunshine, and temperatures are still above average. It'll get to 20, maybe 21 degrees, but it won't have that humid feel that we've had today. Looking towards Friday, another showery day. The ridge of high pressure builds in, giving us a fine day on Saturday. By Sunday, there's more cloud, and we're expecting rain by Sunday evening at the moment. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Leg warmers, that's the word I was about to say before I was rudely interrupted. I was going to say, is it time to dig out the leg warmers?
And I think it is, judging from the weather and the umbrellas.
Did you have leg warmers?
Yeah, never put them away, actually. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Goodbye.